Hello everyone, welcome back to Magic the Gathering. I know these videos are going up like weeks after the I think when this video is released, probably this draft block won't be over, but it'll be close. I know my Crimson Vow videos came out basically as soon as the Crimson Vow draft session or period ended, so I guess you can't really play along with me. But Strixhaven, for me, starts today, so thought I'd have some fun with it. There's also, I'm like a little bit interested in Cube Draft because you like pay a little bit less because it's Phantom because you don't actually get to keep the cards, which is great. Phantom Draft would be perfect for me. But I don't really want to play the Cube format because it's like, there's so many cards you have to know about from so many different sets. That just like is too much for me to even contemplate. So I've watched some Cube Drafts on YouTube. It looks fun, if you know what every card ever printed in Magic was. And I mean, obviously, not every card is actually in play, right? The card pool contains only insane cards, right? That's kind of traditional for Cube. I think. I mean, they're not... Swords to Plowshares, what a classic. This card existed when I was playing, like, Alpha. Which was not for very long. I was not good at it. I played like one tournament at my high school and was... High school? I guess it was. I learned to play at junior high. For those non-Americans viewing, if there are any of you, that's like, you know, a 13-year-old or something. 12-year-old. And then I tried one tournament at my high school, like, that like just one teacher hosted. And like, I got clobbered, which is fair. I wasn't good. Anyway, I didn't play very much. The point is, but these, you know, Swords to Plowshares existed then. A lot of stuff from back then has been like nerfed, right? You know, Lightning Bolt was way too strong. But it's in this Counterspell, the original Counterspell. I know when I moved out of my parents' place, more or less, I had a box of Magic cards that somebody had given me, and it included a bunch of this stuff, which, you know, if it were in mint condition, would have been valuable, you know, today, but it wasn't in mint condition, so I threw it away. And you know, who knew that Magic cards were going to become valuable? I didn't really want to become a collector. Anyway, the point is, there are a lot of cards here, and they're from all... You can't just, like, read one draft guide about how to play this shit. You just have to know everything, so that's why I'm not. But Strixhaven, you can read a draft guide, and I have. And Strixhaven is like... I don't know, it looks like they're trying to be Hogwarts, right? It's some collaboration between D&D and Magic. You know, they have a D&D adventure is what they call... What are they? Campaign? Adventure? I'm not sure exactly what they call it. But they have a strict, you know, D&D book set in Strixhaven and a Magic thing set in Strixhaven. And it's like they're trying to be Hogwarts. That's what I think. It's a, you know, a magical school where the colors... Where there's like 5 schools, each comprising one color pair, basically. And all this stuff is about magic, and there's supposed to be... Successful decks in this format apparently contain a lot more spells and a lot fewer creatures than is typical for draft. So I don't know, let's just have a go at it. Since this is my first draft in Strixhaven, I imagine it'll be slower than usual. My first draft in Crimson Vow was like an hour 20 or something. And then after that, it cooled down to 30 or 40 minutes. Alright, let's have a look around. First of all, there's this dual land that often will enter untapped. That seems pretty cool. Necrotic Fumes, 3 mana to exile one of yours and one of theirs. So, here's one of the new mechanics in Strixhaven. Lesson. All the lesson cards are, like, not very good on their face. You would not include them in your deck, typically. Right, this is 3 mana to exile one creature of theirs, which is great, but also one of yours, which makes it a lot weaker, right? But lesson cards... Do we have any learns? Here's one. So Learn is the other mechanic that's paired with Lesson. They're all kind of one. When you play a card that says Learn, it says here, you can either reveal a lesson you own from your sideboard and put it into your hand, or discard a card, then draw a card. So these are kind of like the stuff you sideboard, you can like pick up mid-game if it's useful to you, if in the right situation. So actually, environmental sciences is one of like the top cards, like one of the top commons anyway. It's a lesson that's really nice. It's just like it kind of draws you some. I don't quite know why it's so good. Like looking at it, everyone says it's great. I guess it's great color fixing, right? You only have to include one planes or whatever, and you need a plane, so you just wish for it. With you play learn something, you grab this, you play lesson, the environmental sciences, and you get like the land color you need. But you don't have to include a mediocre mana fixer in your actual deck to play it. You can put it on the sideboard, and then if you don't end up needing mana fix, you can wish for something else. So this is actually quite a good card, but let's look around. Maybe something else is better. I think all the lessons are also pretty playable, assuming you're at all likely to take those colors. I suspect dual lands are good, but red-white, according to the one draft guide that I read, is not, one of the top color combos. Oh, right. This, all of the schools are, I said color pairs, they're enemy color pairs, so there are only 5 of them. There are 5 combinations of colors that you will not ever see any cards printed in this set. Like, there won't be red-black. That's an ally color pair, for example. So red-white is one of the weaker color pairs according to this draft guide. Cultivate. Okay, it's green ramp, sure. Fortifying draft. Weird. Okay. Green black. So I think green black has like a life gain theme. I guess it must, right? Witherbloom is the name of the school that Golgari represents in this one, I guess. Yeah, this doesn't look that amazing. I mean, it's like a signpost uncommon, I'm sure. Or common? Yeah, uncommon, that's the white thing. But it's like a signpost for a not very good archetype that doesn't have that much support. Beaming Defiance? Yeah, just like a tolerable white combat trick. Decent removal, I bet. Assuming the opponent is tapping the creature you care about. Pop quiz, probably quite playable. The guide that I saw said, if you find like a learn card that is playable without the learn text, it's insane. If you find one that's like pretty bad without the learn text, it's still great. And if you find one that's horrible without the learn text, it's like mediocre. I don't know, this is probably pretty bad without the learn text, so it's great. That's my opinion. Unwilling Ingredient. 2 mana 1/1 with Menace. What the fuck? 1 mana 1/1. Okay, fine. And it can cycle itself after it dies. Dragon's Approach. 3 damage to each opponent. Then, from your graveyard, you can exile it. And 4 other cards named... No, you may exile Dragon's Approach, and 4 other cards named Dragon's Approach from your graveyard. Is that even possible? Oh, a deck can have any number of cards named Dragon's Approach. This is not good for limited, obviously. But I think in principle... Could you... No. If you only had 4 copies, even if you, like, cast a copy of this spell, you couldn't exile this copy and the 4 real ones, so it wouldn't work. Okay. Twin Scroll Shaman, 3 mana, 1/2 double strike. Fine. Field Trip, actually a great card, I believe. It has Learn, and it does Ramp. Spined Karok. Yeah, that's right. And because this is like a collaboration with D&D, a number of the cards have kind of flavor text like it was like it came from a DM in a D&D game or something. Or maybe I'm confused. Maybe that was only the expansion about delving into the dungeons. AFR, whatever that was. Adventures in the Forgotten Realms. And then we have a Witherbloom campus. All the campus lands enter tapped unconditionally, and I guess they probably all have this scry ability. I don't know. So now we have to look up all this stuff because I have genuinely no idea. Environmental sciences might be near the top. Field trip or pop quiz might be near the top. This probably isn't. These dual lands might be, but I doubt it. And cultivate could be okay. So also, it is worth noting, like, the draft guide talks about what color pairs you might be interested in drafting if you can. It notes that, like, red-blue and green-blue are good, and, like, hey, there's a lot of color fixing. Wouldn't it be great if you just played red-green-blue? And that's kind of, like, the strongest. But that a lot of people will be trying to draft that, and so maybe it's not the best thing to try to force. Notes that black-white is solid, but, you know, if you fall behind, there's no catch-up. So it's a bit weaker. And kind of the worst, but playable if you get the right cards, are green-black and red-white. And there's enough fixing you can also try just like playing every color or many colors, and just even if they're not enemy color pairs, you could try playing those and just have enough fixing to play lots of good cards of various colors. So let's see. First of all, I'm just gonna look through. Obviously, none of these are Is there some mistake in the draft guide? I don't have OBS set up to show you, but it lists the same card twice. It's ranking 9 and 10, which is kind of funny. Okay, oh, there's dual-faced cards here as well. I didn't realize that. At the moment, I'm just scrolling through the list of cards because there's a lot of things I want to look up, basically, and I don't want to type them all in by hand, and I'm just going to scroll down until I see one. Yeah, so actually, they put Lightning Bolt back in. Yeah, there's so many good... And they listed Lightning Bolt twice? Oh, is it like alternate art? Is that what's going on? Somehow? I don't understand. It looks like the same art to me. So yes, obviously none of this stuff is as good as Lightning Bolt. I'm on board with that. So many wacky cards in this set. Well, I'll tell you what, I'll pause for a minute and I'll be back with you when I found an answer. Alright, I'm back. Most of these cards apparently are not any good. It does indeed say that environmental sciences is the best among them, but none of them are particularly good first picks. This is an above average card. We're happy to have it. I just would have hoped for something more amazing in my first pick. You know, a nice rare instead of some random land. Bad colors. So we're sideboarding this, but we're gonna play it. Alright, what is this? Mavinda, Student's Advocate. 3 mana. Is that the colors for Mythic Rare or Rare? I don't really know the difference. 3 mana, 2/3 flyer. And it likes you to play buffs, basically. Because you can play buffs again. I mean, this looks insane. It's a 3 mana, 2/3 flyer, which is already pretty solid. And then it has this ability that lets you reuse spells you've cast. Which, in this set, should be a lot, supposedly. Thunderous Orator. When it attacks, it's a 2 mana 2/2 vigilant that like copies abilities other cards you own have. Interesting. Wormhole Serpent, kind of meh. Mortality Spear, bad colors. But, you know, quite strong if you have life gain, I'm sure. Reliable life gain. Pilgrim of the Ages. Okay. A 3 mana 2/1 that draws a plains. Doesn't seem that great. Okay, some kind of graveyard fetch thing. Now this is a, 4 mana to make a creature that might be large or might not be. If you're playing like a lot of, spells as you would in this expansion, it can be good, but also it can be pretty bad. And I'm never quite sure of the timing of these. I think the card that is currently resolving is not yet in the graveyard, right? It doesn't move to the graveyard until after resolution. So you can't like play a card to fetch something from the graveyard and then fetch like the card itself. Yeah, so this won't count towards the total. Okay. Lash of Malice, just like a combat trick / removal. I don't even like need to read the text on a 4 mana 1/5, right? Leyline Invocation, I believe, is totally fine. Maybe even good. 2 mana 1/1 Flying Death Touch, kind of weird. Yeah, the green theme is like owning 8 or more lands. Or it's the green-blue theme? I don't remember exactly. One of them. I think it might be green-blue. And here's green-blue that also like puts counters on things. Alright, so are these any good? I bet Mavinda is pretty good. Let's look that up. Yes. Mavinda is a great first pick. Just double checking nothing else falls into that category that I have at my disposal at the moment anyway. Really, Mortality Spear is up there. Actually listed higher than Mavinda, but they're very close. 41st versus 49th. Well, we've sideboarded one of these so far. Does that make any difference? Or should I just follow the guide and pick Mortality Spear? I guess removal is really nice. And this isn't exactly a bomb, right? It's good. And it is kind of evasive. I think I'll take Mavinda over Mortality Spear.
Hello there. I shall teach you much.
Thanks for the voice line. Mage Hunter, 4 mana 3/4. Enemies lose life for casting spells. Okay. Oh, Adventurous Impulse. I remember this from a previous set. New art for it, though. Reconstruct History. Return. Okay, this must be horrible. Yes, indeed. 2 mana, tap some creatures, learn. So this would fit in like some kind of red-white aggro. What's the other white combo here? It should be black, right? Yeah. Orzhov. A 3 mana lesson. Scry 2, then draw. Well, I mean, I'm sure that's fine. What's with this Archway Commons? Okay, so it's for like multicolor stuff. Pretty bad for your curve. It enters tapped and it's like even worse than a tap land, so you have to pay mana for it. But it is any color. What about Stonebound Mentor? Cards leave your graveyard, scry 1? Is that... Oh yeah, red-white does like taking stuff out of your graveyard, doesn't it? Is that a thing they're doing? Let me just double check that. Lore Hold. A theme of getting value from your graveyard. Yeah, that's right. I like this guy. I mean, this must just be... Ugh, right? Scry 1 is fine, and a 3-mana 3/3 is okay, but it's not that exciting. Alright, well let's look up how some of these are. Adventurous Impulse, quite bad. Mage Hunter, probably also bad? Heck. Yep, not good anyway. I mean, it's like, I think playable? Solid playable. Reconstruct History, no thanks. Study Break? It comes with a learn, and it's in white, like it's bad. Right next to Field Trip, actually. I'm not even gonna look at this one, I think. I mean, I don't know. It's a green-blue card, right? But yeah, it is in fact quite bad. Arrogant Poet, I don't think I want to do that. Or this. Mage Duel is a solid removal card. It doesn't fit with my white, but you know, we're not married to white, and we might get some fixing. Yeah, Mage Duel is an above average card. Reckless Amplimancer? Okay. Probably not that good. Mentor, I think we already looked at that. Did we? Maybe not. It's, yeah, as expected, not that good. This is a lesson, but I don't think it's that good either. Yeah. So, and how about this land, right? Archway Commons, quite bad. So we would pick this only if we were sure we wanted to go with like lots of colors, which I am not sure of. Now, Prismari is a pretty good color set, right? So we could just like grab the Prismari Campus. It's still a bad card because you want to be picking actual spells that do something. So of all these, apparently the Mage Duel is by far the best. I think I will take it. We'll be flexible about whether we're in white or some other color combo. Or maybe lots of colors. What are you? White. Ugh. Really? Wow. Okay. That is late game removal, I guess. You would never play this early. But if you can like empty your opponent's hand or find that they don't have anything they want to play, there's your window to play Divine Gambit. Probably don't want Secret Rendezvous. I assume Divine Gambit is bad, but I might be wrong. It's rated as like playable, I think. Yeah. Lorehold Excavation, Enchantment. At the beginning and a middle card, if it was a land, gain a life, otherwise do 1 damage to the opponent. 5 mana to exile a creature, create a 3/2 token. It's only 2 mana. It could create a lot of value over the long term. Guiding Voice, I think it might be playable. Although I think this is one of the worst learn cards. Is that right? It's playable. Okay. Bury in Books, I believe, is insane. One of the top commons. Elemental Summoning, I think, also not bad. Five mana, 3/4 haste with Scry 1. It's a little expensive. Oh yes, the red-blue theme, Prismari / is expensive spells. So that's a thing. We look up Barry in books. Is a top common, yeah. And what does the pick order list say? Barry in books. It says it's good. Above average. I bet excavation is not very good. Yeah, it's playable. And Spectacle Mage? I've read about that card before. This, you know, is listed as, like, a signpost common for red-blue, but I don't know if it's actually good. It's ranked not very well in the draft. So, like, I have a draft guide, which was, like, is text written by a human, and, like, this pick order, which... I don't know how they produce it. They somehow do a bunch of AI drafts, maybe? I don't know. Maybe not. Maybe I'm getting that confused. Oh yeah, how did... These ratings are used... The ratings are initially created by some human being and maybe updated later from AI-backed analysis. So, I don't know. So, you know, as they point out, you know, as you know, as you should, like, you know, the pick order is really about pack one, pick one. After that, you should be adjusting based on what you have. Like, fine, but I don't know what I have yet, and I also don't even know what the baseline is. So, like, I think this could be good, but okay, we don't have a lot of red-blue at the moment, but we could get some. You know, I've watched good players draft, and they're even, like, in pack 2. They're like, you know, maybe we'll try switching colors. Just pick lots of good cards, and eventually you'll, you know, you end up with a lot of junk in your sideboard no matter what. So you might as well pick good cards, and then throw out the ones that are the wrong color. Instead of picking all the color stuff, and then throw out the ones that are bad. I think we're going to take Barry in books, though. Oh, how's Elemental Summoning, by the way? Also, quite fine. Kind of in the same neighborhood as Barry in books. The draft guide thinks that Elemental Summoning is better, which kind of surprises me. It's not by a lot, but I am surprised. I guess it's a little more flexible. You don't have to play red and blue. You can play red or blue. Right now, we don't look like we're playing either, but we could be. It's just like a 5 mana 4/4, which can be made cheaper if you have something like this, and can be copied by things that like sorceries and stuff. Copied or otherwise benefited from. Alright, we'll take the Elemental Summoning, I guess. Explosive Welcome. That is a big spell. 8 mana, and you get 3 back. But it, like, removes some up to 2 things. I think it's probably pretty good. Believe it or not. Stormkiln Artist. Blech. Yeah, blech. Fracture. White back. Very nice white-black removal. But it doesn't work on creatures. Oh, never mind. Not that great. Works on everything but creatures. I just saw so many types. I was like, one of them must be creatures, but it's not. Killer Drop Rescuer, 5 mana. Ugh. Arcane Subtraction. 2 mana Combat Trick. Learn. Probably not that amazing. Dusk Mage. No. No. Okay, this is like some aggro learn. Like, I'm sure this is lovely in an aggro deck. Teach by Example, I think, is a mediocre example of copying a spell. but not bad. Here's a lesson that just makes it a 3-2. Not that great. So I think Explosive Welcome is actually the pick here. Let's just see what... It's listed as, like, solid playable. Whereas, like, what else would I even look at? Teach by example, maybe? Substantially worse. And I assume Fracture is not very good. Yes, it's horrible. Alright. Oh, Explosive Welcome. I'm now sad I didn't pick the Spectacle Mage, which would make this a bit cheaper. Whirlwind Denial. Oh, this has been printed before. Yeah, so it's a 3-mana counter spell, which is just like fine by itself. But it's especially okay. The opponent can uncounter if they pay 4, but it's especially good because in the situation where your opponent has multiple abilities on the stack, like they play a lightning bolt on something, you buff a thing, and they counter your buff. I guess. I don't know. Maybe that's not a good example. They play a creature, you counter the creature, they counter your counter. I don't know, I guess it doesn't matter. I'm trying to think actually, when is this so good? When is your opponent going to have multiple abilities on the stack where countering both of them is better than like countering the one that's doing the main thing? I'm sure it happens. But maybe not that often, actually. Okay, well, it could be. It's probably decent. Huh, this actually is probably a pretty okay card. Eye Twitch, right? 1 mana, 1/1 flyer that learns eventually. Beaming Defiance. I mean, this is more combat trick stuff. Defend the campus. Choose one. Creatures get +1/+1 or destroy a creature, a big creature. So this is another, like, aggro card mostly, but it's just decent removal probably otherwise. Maybe kind of weak removal. Exile something, you get a 4/4 in exchange. Okay. Effigy. No. 5 mana haste with Scry. Red white. Kind of weird for an aggro color to have gain 2 life as an effect. The rest of it is pretty good, I think. But okay. I suspect Whirlwind Denial is the pick here. Sometimes playable, huh? Well, maybe not. Eye Twitch also sometimes playable, but weaker? Is that right? Am I in the wrong... It's actually a solid playable. Barely. So it's a little bit ahead of Whirlwind Denial, not by a lot. It's just a 2 mana 1/4? How's Defend the Campus? Bad. Not much that I really want here then, huh? Beaming Defiance might be the pick, or... Is Agyar any good? It's in the solid playable category, you know, a little bit ahead of the other stuff we were looking at. Resculpt to make a 4/4 basically. Bad. And what do you think of Beaming Defiance? Also bad. Okay, so this seems to be the best of the available cards. Strategic Planning. 2 mana blue card. It's sort of like a Scry 3 draw 1. Probably playable. Tangle Trap. Okay, a typical green flyer killer. So, what do you think of Serpentine Curve exactly? Like, I read about it in the draft guide. We'll often make a giant creature in red-blue, so that's a thing we could do. Strategic planning is probably also, I assume, fine. Oh, it's horrible. All right. Well, I'll take the Serpentine Curve then, I guess. Well, the other thing is we could take Introduction to Prophecy. It's a lesson. You can just, like, run lessons, right? It has the same effect as this, basically. I guess a little bit worse, it's scry 2 instead of 3, but this is very similar to scry 3, draw 1. It's more expensive, but you don't have to run it in your deck. So that's a possibility. How good you thought it was, like, somewhat playable, right? Yeah, I mean, it's in the solid playables category. And so is Serpentine Curve. But Serpentine Curve is supposedly a little bit better, and we're already a little bit in blue? And we like instants and sorceries. I guess this is also a sorcery, but if I'm going to copy something with Mavinda, which who knows if I will, this would be the thing, rather than the Introduction to Prophecy. Claim the Firstborn. Oh, I remember this one from other sets. Not really what I want in this set, probably, in this deck. Golden Ratio. Draw a card for each different power among creatures you control. Well, I would have to handle green as well. Like, I don't know yet what color I'm going, obviously. We have some of everything except black. Expanded Anatomy, 3 mana, sorcery, buff something and give it vigilance. Okay, sure, I guess. I think this probably is the pick, actually, just because none of this is that amazing. Like, how good is Golden Ratio anyway? It's in the solid playables category. But Expanded Anatomy is substantially better. Yep, that's what I thought. Fortifying Draft, no thanks. Beaming Defiance may be playable, but we're not very white at the moment. You know, probably take a land here. I have 2 creatures so far out of 6. I think I'll just take this in case I decide that I want to run black/green. I probably won't. But it keeps me flexible, you know? And none of this is much good, right? Okay. Maybe I would want to run Beaming Defiance, I guess, but it's white and that, like, has its own problems. This just keeps me flexible. I'm going to actually put it here so that I remember that I have it. So that I'm a little bit more excited about black and green cards. Leyline Invocation, I believe, is the most playable among these. Actually, Fractal Summoning is probably better, given that... Well... Given that it could be played with blue instead of green. And it's also just stronger in general. Okay. I'm happy to take this. Ooh. Oh, Introduction to Prophecy is fine. Oh, or we can take a red-blue land. Okay, give me the red-blue land, I think. They're pretty close together in like the estimated value they have. The thing does say as a first pick you'd rather take Introduction to Prophecy, but I know that I want red and blue lands, so gimme. First day of class? I believe it's actually the worst learn card according to the draft guide. I don't know what the first pick order will have to say, which is like first day of class. Yeah, it's basically unplayable. It's actually technically in the rarely playable category, right above basically unplayable. But it's not very good. So, I guess that means we're taking another one of these guys. This actually is in the basically unplayable category. There are only 2 cards in that category, so it's a rare honor. And the other one is the one that I dismissed, Dragon's Approach, also horrible. Those are the 2 unplayable cards. And this is slightly better than they are. Okay, take another one of these. Oh, we wield Teach by Example. That's pretty nice, I think. It's not amazing, but it's fine. What is this? Yeah. Alright, there's a blue card at the top. Multiple choice. So it's 4 different spells in one, and you choose which one based on how much mana you pay. Oh, no, it's 3 spells in one, and I like that D, all of the above. Oh, very good card. Very, very flavorful. So for 5 mana, it does a shitload of stuff. Divide by 0, I believe, is also quite good. Yeah. 3 mana bounce that learns. Daemogoth Woe Eater. Huh. A powerful creature. Not really what I'm excited about. It is black-green, which is not my favorite color pair, but I do have a black-green land. Where is it? Here it is. Yeah, they all have this 4 scry 1. Got it. Do any of these look good enough to me that I should look them up? This is more red-white aggro stuff. Mage Duel is good. We have 2 of these guys already. I don't really more. This is junk. Junk. Another Prismari Campus. So I'm pretty sure we want one of these 2 cards. They're both good and they're in our colors. But we'll check out Daemogoth first just in case it's insane. It is quite good, it says. An above average card. It's also not that expensive. It's like a 4 mana card. And if you have small creatures, which some decks, green, black, does it run small creatures? I don't know. But if it does, then like sacking tokens lets you keep the 7/6 for a while. But when you sacrifice itself, you get a benefit. So it's like it's a temporary creature. I don't know. Now let's look up multiple choice. It looks like it must be good, right? Oh yeah, it's insane. That's what I thought. Yay! It's more insane than I thought, but okay. And how good is Divide by 0? Not as good, obviously. Yeah. So this is indeed an insane card. Let me just check. We don't have any of the other even more insane cards, right? This is ranked like number 12. Yes, if there was something even better than this, I would have noticed. What are you? You're a black and green card? Okay, so what's the front side? Pestilent Cauldron. Okay. So it's a 3 mana artifact that's black. You can tap to make a token. You can pay mana and tap to mill opponents equal to life. You can pay 4 mana and tap to draw a card, assuming there's enough stuff in the graveyard. So when does it turn into the other side? I don't understand. Oh, you can play it both sides, right? It's not a transform, it's dual-faced. You can play either side. Right. So you can play it for 5 mana in green to return Up to 2 cards from graveyard to your hand. Everyone gains life. This seems not very good. Wrong. It's actually a great first pick. This is why we have the draft guide. Okay. Symmetry Sage. Okay. It's a 1-mana flyer that can be a 2/2 flyer, which is insane for 2 when you play an instant or sorcery. And right now, our deck is 7 instants or sorceries and 3 creatures, so that could be good. And there's Spectacle Mage again. Introduction to Annihilation, 5 mana removal. Or 5 mana draw, but probably removal. It's a pretty bad card. You would not run this. 5 mana to exile something but give them a card is like, it's pretty expensive removal and it gives them a card, but you don't have to run it. You can wish for it when you really need it. This is some color fixing for 2. Not that amazing. I think we take the Spectacle Mage or the Symmetry Sage. They both like instants and sorceries, so that's cool. This one likes large spells, of which we have 1, 2, 3, 4. And this guy just likes any old spells and is kind of more aggressive. It goes face. Mostly, of course, it's about buffing itself. But it can buff other things as well. I suspect... I don't know. I want to take the Spectacle Mage, probably regardless of what the order says. I'm not that excited about Pestilent Cauldron. Even though it says it's great. Really? I mean... You can play it as black or green. So that's something, I guess. It makes tokens. We didn't end up picking a thing that loves tokens. But still just nice to make some, I guess. Oh, this is tap and discard a card. Never mind, that part sucks. It really is about the 4 mana, or maybe about playing it as green? The green doesn't seem that good either. Why is this good? I guess it's about, you play it for 3 mana, and then you have a 4 mana thing that removes stuff from the enemy graveyard and draws you a card. That must be like what this deck wants to do. What this card wants to do. Does the draft guide mention this? Why is this good? It doesn't. I'm kind of confused about why that card is good, and therefore I probably should not play it. So what do you think of Symmetry Sage? Sometimes playable? And Spectacle Mage, I believe, is better than that, right? It is, yeah, at the bottom of solid playable. I'll take it. That's what I wanted anyway. Remember, I did say that. I'm not just rationalizing my decision. What do you think of Introduction to Annihilation, actually? You think it's somewhat better? Oh, it's ranked 243, and what did I say the Spectacle Mage was? 264. So, pretty close, but I have reason to want this card. I have a lot of red, blue, and big spells already. Ingenious Mastery. Okay, this could be an expensive spell again. Ah. So, if you pay X, it could draw... Okay, wow, this must be good. So it wants you to have a lot of mana, and if you do, you draw a lot of cards. But you can play it cheaply to just, like, draw 3 cards cheaply, but give the opponent a big bonus as well. This must be a good card, right? It is a good card. It is, what category is this? Near the top of solid playable. Now, Mentor's Guidance, I don't think we have much of this stuff. Yeah, we have none of these things. Or no, we do have a Shaman? We have one Shaman. So it's a bad card, but if you have a Shaman, it's like a good card. I'm not likely to have it that often, right? Where even is my Shaman? It must be, is it Mavinda? Oh, Mavinda's an advisor. Spectacle Mage? Yes. So it could be like playable, but I don't think I want it. Mentor's Guidance is listed pretty similarly, I think. 180 something versus 170 something. Yeah, they're right next to each other. So, but I would take Ingenious Mastery. It looks insane. Or Mortality Spear, which is rated quite well. What's with Zimone? Okay. Now that is some ramp. And some draw? Like this? It's not a super great card, but it is fine, and it's in our colors already. Like, it's rated slightly worse than Ingenious Mastery. Leyline Invocation, I think, is okay. Mortality Spear, I don't really want to add black right now. We're in the middle of pack 2 already. Well, okay, at the beginning. And I do have that one, black-green card, but that's it. And we have a pretty solid card we can pick. So I guess it's basically... How good do you think Leyline Invocation is again? Actually better than either of those. Interesting. Okay, well, it's a big spell. It's sort of in our colors, but oh man, this one is so good! Draw all these cards! I'm taking the Ingenious Mastery. We may well be going into green at some point, but at the moment we only have one green spell, and this is like... Get out of here, you stupid black-green land. Okay, this is one of the unplayable cards. Snow Day. Tap 2 creatures for 6 mana. They don't untap. Draw 2, then discard. Doesn't look that good to me. For 6 mana, like, I don't know. It's actually, like, in the bottom of solid... Right in the middle of solid playable, isn't it? Yeah. Huh. I don't understand it. 6 mana, like... I guess this is, like... Is this for aggro decks or control decks? It's so expensive, you wouldn't expect an aggro deck to play it. But if they got to 6 mana and drew this, they'd be happy. They'd be like, oh, thank God, I can finally kill him. Get rid of those creatures that were blocking me, maybe. I think it's about control decks, though. Stop them from attacking you, and then get some draw. Curate, 2 mana. It's better... then, well, it's basically like Scry 2, draw a card, right? But it puts stuff into your graveyard instead of the bottom, which can be useful. So Scry 2, draw a card for 2 mana is probably not amazing. I think it's just another Mage Duel. How good is Curate? Not very good. Mage Duel is quite good. Yeah, I mean, we knew that. Better even than Snow Day. Alright, so we'd like to find... Well, what are the... We'd like to find a green-blue land. That would make Mage Duels a bit better, but I think it's still a good enough card. Like, are we splashing for 2 Mage Duels? Maybe. I see a big ol' red-blue card. I think this is, like, insane, even though it is, like, 7 mana. Deal 5 damage to any target. So, for example, it could be the opponent. That would be cool. And then, scry 5, draw 1. And it has a kind of not cycling effect, but if you can't play it, you can like make a treasure token. Reject. Counter a spell unless they play creature or planeswalker spell. Unless they pay 3 and then exile it. Oh, come on, you couldn't give me a better campus than these two? I think we're running Creative Outburst. It is a totally decent card. It is above average, and I think is the category I'm looking at the moment. Yeah, and it's in my colors, and it's giant. I love it. Oh, Duress. That's. So I guess all the ones with these like weird alternate art, these are all reprints of like classic cards. Huh. Okay. Anyway, give me a Creative Outburst. Yeah, four creatures and 10 other spells. All right. Definitely an unusual draft deck for like other sets, but normal for this set. Deadly Brew. Each player sacks a creature or planeswalker. If you did, put something else from your graveyard to your hand. So I guess it's worth asking, are we going to be splashing for white to run this thing? I'd like to. Do I want to splash for this as well? Not really. Arcane Subtraction. It's a 2-mana, like, combat trick with Learn. Could be playable. Or, oh, another Spectacle Mage. Why am I even looking at all this other shit? Another Teach by Example? I mean, it's not amazing. Ooh. Letter of Acceptance is ramp and fix. I think I might have to take that. I want to run like 3 colors, and I don't have any dual land. I don't have any green lands yet. And I kind of want to run some white. And I want to ramp, right? I think Letter of Acceptance is the way to go over Teach by Example. I'm going to check the tier list just for like... Teach by Example ranked 257. Letter of Acceptance ranked 313, but in I mean, Teach by Example could be insane, right? But it also, like, might not be, right? It only works if you have a ton of mana. Like, if you want to copy... What happens... Let me look up a rule, by the way. MTG copy X spell. When you copy a spell and you use the same X. Okay, that's what I thought, but it's important to know that for sure. Because, like, then, let's say you played, I don't know. There's some point at which Ingenious Mastery, for example, it becomes better to, like, play this instead of pumping more. Like, let's say you had 20 mana. You're never going to have 20 mana, but say you did. You could draw 17 cards out of Ingenious Mastery, or you could draw 15 cards off of it and then double that effect, right? Obviously, you don't want any of those things, but just to draw an example where it's obviously more valuable to do both of these. But not that much more valuable, really, right? It might be better to save Teach by Example to buff something else. Like multiple choice is another good one. You could pay 5 mana for this, and then another 2 to do it again. Now, this is... It's interesting the way they ordered this, right? They could have said, copy target spell, instant or sorcery, right? And I don't know exactly why they didn't. That's how cards like this are usually phrased, I thought. It might be that they're trying that like they rephrased it this way to make it easier for beginner players to play it correctly. Because unless you specify otherwise, when you've finished casting a spell, you pass priority. That's kind of the default thing to do. It is legal to retain priority and cast another spell before it's ready, before it like goes off. But that's usually the wrong thing to do. And there was a problem, many years ago in the Magic universe where beginners would say like, I cast this spell 3 times, and then their opponent would be like, okay, got it. You want to retain priority, cast this 3 times, and then I want to buff my creature 3 times or something, right? So they play this spell to buff it, or they would play like a deal 1 damage 3 times to kill the enemy creature. That's like a 3/3. And then their opponent, the seasoned tournament player, would say, okay, well now that you've put all 3 of those on the stack, I'm going to use one. I'm going to give my creature +1/+1 in response. And now it's a 4/4. All 3 of your things go off, but they don't do anything. And so that's a bad feeling for the beginner player because they didn't really want to do it that way. What they really should have done was, I give your creature... Oh, actually, I don't know. This is a bad example. But there are things like that, where the normal example of you would want to play them, wait for your opponent to respond, let it go off, then cast another. I forget why exactly, what cases you might want to do this in, but there are such cases. And so the default in tournaments and in Magic the Gathering Arena is, if you say you do something like 3 times, or when you cast a spell, you like generally are assumed to pass priority unless you say otherwise. And so if a card that says copy target spell, if you play a big spell and don't mention that you're retaining priority, that spell will go off before you have a chance to copy it. Likewise, in Magic the Gathering Arena, if you just play a card, it goes off. Unless you say, hang on, I want to put something else on the stack after it. So I wonder if the reason they reworded this is to make it easier. So you cast this first, and then you cast the thing you want to copy. It also does make a difference. Your opponent, even if you were perfect about those things, it makes a difference. Like, you play this, and then, your opponent has to counter this before they know what big spell you're going to copy. And when you play the big spell, you get a copy of it whether they counter the big one or not. So, I don't know. Anyway, I think I'll take a letter of acceptance. Just wondering about why this card is phrased in an interesting way. Four mana, bleh. Here's a green-blue card. Okay. That ramps, which we like. But it doesn't exactly fix my green-blue problem. My green problem. It just gives me more green or blue, which is fine. I like it. How about you? You're another green-blue thing. So I think we're taking something blue here, pretty obviously. I think we're taking one of these two. The Cultivator or the Prodigy? They're both ramp of various kinds. This is kind of just a weak combat trick / creature. I don't know which one of these is better. Even though I've looked them both up, I don't remember. I feel like Zimone was ranked like 187th. And I don't remember the Cultivator. Probably better, right? 186th. Pretty good. Pretty good memory. Oh, and the Cultivator is great. Alright. I'll take it. 84th. Green black? Nah. I mean, it's all not the right colors, right? I could run another one of these guys. They're not really what I want, though. But neither is this. This is going to be so hard to hit. I'll just take one of these, and we'll see if I cut it or what. Symmetry Sage, I believe we saw before, is playable, and everything else here is bad? Just a way to chip in some damage, sure. Mentor's Guidance, I believe we saw is playable. I think Leyline Invocation is better, and it's giving me more excuses to run actually 3 colors, so I'll take it. Curate, I think I'll just sideboard. God, I've got so much cutting to do in the last pack. I mean, it does say learn. I only have these 2 lessons right now, right? Still. Playable. Obviously better than this. I'm probably just sideboarding it, but we'll see. What are you? 1 white mana. Exile it, then return. What is Rebound? If you cast the spell from your hand, exile it, and then at the beginning of your next upkeep, you can cast it again. Weird. I mean, it's a cool effect. Putting it specifically on Ephemerate is a bit weird, because why would you want to, like... I guess the idea is you wait until your opponent has put nasty enchantments on 2 of your creatures, and then you're like, haha, I bounce one, and then next turn I bounce another. Something like that, maybe? Ooh, here's a red-blue with X cost. It must be good, right? Sorcery. Exile X cards. For each land card exiled, create a treasure. For each blue card, draw a card. For each red, deal damage to the opponent. That's probably pretty good. Ether Helix. Bounce an opponent card, draw from your own graveyard. Okay, Bury in Books, solid card. Probably not as good as Culmination of Studies. Prismari Pledge Mage. Okay, it's like trying to keep you alive while you ramp, I guess. Biomathematician. The fractal is kind of like a we have did we take one of those ever? Serpentine Curve makes a fractal. Leyline Invocation, I believe, also makes a fractal. Elemental Summoning does. Fractal Summoning makes another, so this kind of wants you to have played a bunch of fractals already. I don't think I'm going to draw it. Oh, Environmental Sciences, okay. But Culmination of Studies, right? Ranked 219th. But it's so cool. I mean, sure. It could still be good in our deck, right? I don't know if it is. The main thing is you would want to hit blue cards. I guess the problem is not every card in my deck is red or blue, right? I have a few greens. I have some colorless. I have a white. So that's sort of a problem, I guess. But what's Ether Helix, right? We said we don't really want it. I think we'll just take Bury in Books. Or Environmental Sciences, actually. It would help with... what do I have that has Learn? Will you tell me? No. Actually, did I take any? I've taken none. If I did have a Learn card in my deck, would it tell me? No. Because it's not a type, right? It's an effect. Alright, now what was that stupid thing I put in my deck that I want to get rid of now? This one. So it might be worth running just to get like environmental sciences going. But I think burying books is just too good. Environmental sciences is actually ranked better than burying books. The thing is, like, I don't have any learn cards right now. Well, I should probably start looking at my deck and figure out what I'm cutting. I've picked 20 cards so far. In terms of creatures, I have 8. We could cut this white card, but I wouldn't. I'd like to run it. We could just cut out all the green stuff. I have, what, 2 Mage Duels, a Quadranix Cultivator, and a Leyline Invocation. Fractal Summoning I can play with just... And if I cut out all my green stuff, Culmination of Studies gets better for sure. But I think burying books is probably better anyway. So it's really like environmental sciences or burying books. Out of curiosity, how good is Ephemerate? I don't want to play it. It's like solid. Interesting. It doesn't look that great to me. Well, the rebound effect isn't that good, but I guess Ephemerate is probably fine anyway. Like, even if it doesn't rebound, and then if it does, it's, like, good. I don't think I want to run a 2-mana 3/3 Defender. I do need some creatures eventually to play, like, my Mage Duels. I think I'll just take... Well, if I'm cutting the green stuff, I should probably cut Mavinda first. Maybe? Hang on. Where's, This actually casts a spell, so it's the same as playing from your hand. It effects that care about casting still matter. Like, wherever it is. Spectacle Mage, for example. If you hit a big spell in your graveyard, it's cheaper to play. Or this, right? Mage Duel. Other stuff would be cheaper to play. Including itself, if you play it from the graveyard. Each by example, you can copy it. This is a tough choice. Maybe it's an easy choice if you know what you're doing, but for me it's tough. I'm just going to take another Environmental Sciences, and we'll see if we can run a Learn card. Oops, sideboarded, of course. Draconic Intervention. Wow. That's a really strong effect. Yeah, ranked great first pick. Now, I don't have many creatures. Can I, is there a way to filter my deck? No. There is once you're done drafting, but anyway, I want, like, what is my biggest creature right now? In terms of... Oh, no, it's not. It's exile a spell. The card's mana value. So I have, like, my top end is X cards, but I've also got, like, a few 7-drops and 6, right? And some 5s. So this actually could, like, absolutely wipe the board for 4 mana. I think it's insane. He's a Debate is solid as well, but not as good as that. Oh, or we could take a Learn. Okay, I don't think it's that. Learning is not that good, just because it gives me access to environmental sciences. I think I have to take Draconic Intervention. Electrolyze? Great. A mid-size red-blue card that does some probably removal and also draws? Hall Monitor. Yeah, okay. Not for me, though. 5 damage to a creature, access to the creature's controller. Pretty solid. Or Pop Quiz. Or Elemental Summoning. These are all fine cards. God, I've got so many cards. What am I gonna do? I have to cut something, and I want to add more things. Alright, how good is Electrolyze? Great. Okay, I'll take it. Yeah, that about covers it, I guess. I thought it was good. It looks like it's good. I'll take it. What are you? Conspiracy Theorist. When it attacks, you can cycle cards. When you discard non-land cards, you can play it anyway? Huh. That's interesting. Could be good. But it's probably just like a 2-mana 2/2. I mean, the thing is, a 2-mana 2/2 helps you like stay alive in the early game. And then it has this effect, which if you draw it, you know, when you're ready to start attacking, you kind of like draw. Because you discard a card, and as long as you pick a card you wanted to play, then having discarded it doesn't even cost you anything, because you can play it anyway. And you also draw a card to replace it. So it could be a value engine of its own if they can't block for some reason, but presumably they usually will be able to. Master Symmetrist. Weird. Expressive Iteration. Interesting. 1 in your hand, 1 on the bottom of your library, exile 1, you can play it. So it's a lot like a draw 2, as long as you play it while you still have mana left. Scry 3, draw 2. Elemental Masterpiece, I think, is actually good? 7 mana for 2 4/4s? Oh, man. Yeah, Elemental Masterpiece is listed as, like, in the draft guide, the centerpiece, or why the ramp cards like, where is it? Spectacle Mage are good is because of specifically Elemental Masterpiece. Right, if you can ramp up to this, you can stop an aggro deck from killing you and just get like some very good value against a non-aggro deck. Okay. Elemental Masterpiece is rated quite bad in the draft guide, but we've got like the stuff that makes it good. And what do we think also about expressive iteration above average? I mean, I do think they're both good. Oh, what do you think of conspiracy theorist, by the way? Not as good as expressive iteration, I bet. Oh, actually, great. All right. Well, I need a 2-drop since I think I don't have any right now. Yeah. Detention vortex. Interesting. So you pay 1 to hide something, and then they can pay 3 to get it back. Not very good. Containment breach. 3 mana. It's a lesson, but we don't have any learns yet. Pigment storm? Oh yeah, it's just like 5 mana removal. This is like learn, but it's for a more aggressive deck. I don't have any, or deck with creatures, for example. Ugh, I don't really want any of this. I mean, I guess I'll take the Pigment Storm. How good do you think that is, by the way? A good card. Okay. Spell Satchel. What is this? 2 mana. Cast or copy instants and sorceries. It gets a counter. You can add mana for 1 counter. So it's some maybe rampish kind of stuff. Or for 3 counters you can draw. Probably decent, actually. Ooh, or just another Prismari Campus. I bet it's going to say Spell Satchel is awful. It is awful, yes. Is it good in my deck for some reason? It does. You do have to tap it to get the mana, so you can't save up a bunch of mana and then spend it all at once. Okay, maybe that's not so great. I'll just take another land. I have enough stuff to cut. I don't want to add a mediocre card and then end up cutting it, which is what would happen if I took it. Okay, this is Kelpie Guide, 3 mana creature that has like some... Actually, yeah, this is probably playable. Although, oh, there's another Elemental Masterpiece I should probably take. Or another Prismari Campus, I guess. I think I might have enough of those. How good is Practical Research? Decent. I mean, the first pick order does not like Elemental Masterpiece, but like I have the deck for it, so I'm gonna play it. And what do you think of Kelpie Guide? Likes it quite a bit better. Not a huge surprise. Like, the thing is, you can use this as ramp, right? You can tap a land and then untap that land and use it again. I think I should just take this. I'm going to get blown out if I keep taking only giant cards. 2 mana sorcery lesson. Target non-land becomes a 1/1 frog or a 4/4 octopus, up to you. Interesting. And it is a sorcery, so you can't use it as a combat trick. Test of Talents, 2 mana. Counter an instant or sorcery. And exile any stuff from their graveyard with the same name if you want, but they draw a card. Ugh. Seem very good. Well, I don't really want any of this, so I guess I will just take the lesson and sideboard it, even though I don't have any learns yet. I think I just need a 2 mana 3/3. Here's another lesson. For 4 mana, you know, no thanks. But okay, I mean, it's a lesson. Maybe I'll end up getting a learn card that'll... Probably not, but maybe. 2-mana cycle or another Pigment Storm. I think I just want, like, this. Oh, we got both of these back, huh? And a Letter of Acceptance, which I didn't even notice last time I saw this back. Two mana and a bunch of draw. Like, I think I need that probably more than I need another giant spell. Do I want Letter of Acceptance even more than that? Probably not. Maybe, though. I don't actually have... What do I have that does something like ramping? Kelpie Guide. That's 1. 2 Spectral Mages. That's 3. Letter of Acceptance. 4. Bottleneck's Cultivator. 5. So 5, right? I have 5 ramp cards. And the number of gigantic spells I have is like... I thought briefly it would be easier to count the non-gigantic spells. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. I have like 11 gigantic spells. So that's probably why we're gonna lose, huh? I'm taking... Alright, I have to cut some stuff here. Because we have 27 cards. 27 spells, and we want 23. So we want to cut like 4 things. I mean, I note that I have exactly 4 green cards, which is somewhat suspicious. What's the word I'm thinking of? Conspicuous. And they're not even really that important to run, honestly. Yeah, I think I'll cut my green stuff. This didn't work out. I like the made... Well... If I cut all the green stuff... Where did it go? I'm down to 23 cards, and I don't really need the Letter of... Well, it's still ramp, even if I don't need the color fix. It lets me run Mavinda still. And I do have Fractal Summoning still, which, you know, is a little green, but really it's just blue. Like, I don't think it's that amazing. Yeah, let's cut that. And now it seems like what I obviously need is ramp. Right? I don't really have much small stuff. I think I'm going to take a Letter of Acceptance again. Mentor's Guidance, a little bit playable. Well, obviously that's the one I pick. Whether we play it or not, we'll see. It's giving me 3 planes, which I think is rather too many when I also have 2 letters of acceptance. I think just like 1 would probably be okay. And then I could run more red and blue that way. I have a lot of... What color lands is... It's still using... Alright. Get out of here, you weirdo colors. Let's pick my own favorite looking mountain. Oh, look, these are the ones from... These are the first lands ever printed with flavor text from the Adventures in the Forgotten Realms set. Yeah, so we'll run 1 planes, and 2 of these is 3. I need 14 more, so that's 7 of each of these. I like this. This looks cool. How about these islands? This one looks pretty. And a white one. I don't like any of these planes. We'll run with one without any flavor text, I guess. There you go. Okay, so what are we doing, like... Or that's multicolor, colorless. So, because it would be really nice to run that learn card, right? I drafted 1. And this can pull environmental sciences for me. And I think we could manage to cut 1 thing to run this kind of weird combat trick that also... Can you say or? I don't see a way to say or. Yes, no. Oh yeah, I guess O comma lesson? Can I do that? No. I don't know what the O is. Anyway, I have like 6 lessons. Well, 5, because if you never get to use... If you only have 1 learn, you definitely don't have 2 of these. And any one of these effects might be good, right? And running a single learn card gives me access to all of this. Although I'll have to remember what they are. Oh my gosh. When I'm deciding whether to play a learn card, I'll be like, should I go fishing now for one of these? Like, none of these are that great. Except environmental sciences, which kind of is. Although I don't need that much fixing. It would just be like for a single white card, right? I cut everything else. Maybe I shouldn't have. Maybe I should put the green stuff back and find more red-blue things to cut? Still not really sure. Alright, what did I have that was in green? A couple mage duels, a leyline invocation, and a Quandrix cultivator. I think I've been saying Quadrinix this whole time. I mean, this is some ramp, this is some removal. How am I doing for removal? I feel like I have plenty. Maybe that's not true. I have Pigment Storm, quite expensive. Draconic Intervention is a board clear. And Creative Outburst. Multiple choice bounces. But I don't actually have that much removal, now that I look at it. I felt like I had a lot because I had drafted mage duels, but I've cut those. What do I have in terms of creatures? No, I want to know... Hang on. Will you filter my deck by that somehow? Yes. This is actually 11 creatures, which seems like a lot for this. I mean, this guy isn't doing that much when I look at him, right? He's a 5-mana 3/4 with haste, so you can rush in and do damage. Okay, let's ask another question. How am I killing the opponent? What do I have that can kill the opponent? Usually the answer is like creatures, but I don't have very many of those. This is a 2/2 flyer. This is a flyer. This can be a 2/2 flyer. And I can make some 4/4 tokens. Maybe those could attack enough to just get me through. This is a creature, basically. This is a creature, right? Like... And this is burn. And this is burn. So I have like 2 burn cards and a mediocre number of creatures that could eventually kill the opponent. Including some creatures which are created by non-creature spells. Creature tokens, right? So I'm wondering, like, should I cut this guy and run green stuff instead? Or do I need his effect to hit the opponent in the face? Well, not his effect. Do I need a large creature like him? And I feel like I don't actually need him very much. I think I could cut all of these and run green cards. At which point, running a blue would be a little bit more valuable. Like, this guy is kind of meh, but he is, like, a defensive effect. Let's cut the Serpentine Curve to let me run that last green card I want to run. And now I've got some kind of solid removal. I need to fix my mana base, obviously. Oh, it's nice that they finally added the ability to click on a land and add something like it. Because I remember before, it was like I want to add one more land, and it was like, great, go find the one that looks like this in your supply, or else have lands that look different, which I didn't really want to do. Okay, so I think 2 forests is too few. I want to run like 3, at least. Is there like an autofill lands button? Like, I don't think there actually is. Oh, there is suggest lands. So if I... Oops, get out of here. Okay. So if I were to cut all of my lands, or let's say I went down to 4 of each of these, is it smart enough to suggest the right land? Yeah, I'd suggest 4 forests. I think 2 plains is definitely too many. 1 might even be more than I need. And I could run like this. Basically 7 blue, 7 red, 4 green, and a white, plus my ramp. Okay, this deck is highly questionable. And we're going to have to play it in the next episode, because this was a really long draft. It's very complicated to draft this, as well as it being a new set that I didn't understand. And I have no real faith in this deck, but maybe it's insane. I don't know. Probably not. Should be exciting anyway. We could also cut Teach by Example, I guess. Not black. Or was there any black that I wanted? I don't think so, right? Just, yeah, no, it's junk. And likewise white, nothing, okay. So if I were to cut my one teach by example, yeah, maybe that's what I should do to put in my one learn card, right? That'll help me fish up the right color lands, or what else can it do? Counters and vigilance. Oh, I had this in my deck? It's a lesson. It's a good thing I took it out. I didn't even notice, yeah. So the lessons are all sorceries, okay. Illuminate History. I'd like to remember this one as like a 4-mana redraw, but it's almost never going to do anything. Because by the time I have 2 mana to play this, and then 4 mana to play this, like, I hope my hand is full of mostly not very many cards? Oh, I don't know. We'll see. So Environmental Sciences, I suspect, is what I'll be taking most of the time. But there's this, like, 2 counters on a creature. Could be good. Fractal Summoning, maybe my deck curved out great and I just need a giant card, right? So let's try this. And in the next episode, we're going to actually... Oh, you're bad art for the deck. What's good art for the deck? Creative Outburst? Where's my Elemental Masteries, by the way? Oh, they're like probably over here somewhere because they... Did I not run any of them? Oh, I ended up skipping all the Elemental Masteries. Okay, the ones that it said was the best reason to run my ramp, but I have other giant cards. We'll take a Creative Outburst. There you go, a big old red-blue card. Cool. So in the next episode, we'll actually run this, and we'll go 0-3, and it'll be a lot of fun. Hope you guys enjoyed. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you next time.